Accountability is being called out or being asked for something that is expected of you. Responsibility or stress or whatever is a good feeling to have because it means people count on you. Accountability only feels brash or harsh or negative when you don't have a good answer, when you are being called out and you are ill prepared. So accountability in itself, there's literally should be no negative connotation.
The natural progression in a lot of companies is get hired to do the thing. And then once you become really good at the thing, you become a manager. But managing people has absolutely nothing to do with the talent of being like a salesperson or customer or whatever it is that you are good at. Yet those are the people that you hire. It's almost like how we...
Welcome back to another episode of the Who Cares Podcast. Episode of the Who Cares Podcast, the podcast for business leaders and change makers and entrepreneurs who do care. I'm Jeff Jackel.
And I'm Jay O'Brien.
You are. You really are. You want to talk about it? Go ahead. The eye?
I can't even look at it. How about this? Let's talk about how my biceps just won't quit. I mean, just they're growing.
For those of you who are just listening and aren't watching the video, there's a close-up right now on Jay's tiny little baby bicep. And also, I have a style.
Saying, Harry, do you know who Dwayne Johnson is? I'm like, yeah, why? I mean, it's just I'm getting mistaken for The Rock everywhere I go.
All right, well, I'm not going to talk about the sty in my eye. I haven't had one since I was like 7. I don't know where it came from, but it's going away pretty quickly.
It's not going away quickly, first of all. Secondly, why won't you just say it's pink eye?
It's not pink eye. Pink eye is in your eyeball, the eyeball. And it's like, oh, my eye hurts. This is just like, they said it's either like a pimple in my eyelid.
Who's they?
I don't know, my friend who's a
You went to them?
medical
or you
professional.
Took a photo?
I took a photo. I sent it to her. And I was like, what's this? She's like, it's a sty in your eye or it's a pimple. Here, I can give you some cream. It's great. I'm supposed to be putting a warm compress on it 5 times a day. I'm not doing that.
Did she prescribe you an eye patch?
It's not that bad.
That would be phenomenal.
I can get an eye patch. The kids have eye patches for sure.
But you have to show up on a Zoom call and just
own it. You don't mention it.
You cannot talk about it.
That's so Chad Engel. Like it's literally that's a bet from him.
Speaking of Zoom calls,
you didn't want to talk about your biceps anymore? Jay's working out.
I think they speak for themselves.
Okay.
I have this delivery coming to my house today. You know the window of time they gave me?
The window that they gave you.
9 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Nope.
That's the window, and it's Amazon. So they don't do like a Home Depot, hey, heads up 2 hours, hey, heads up 30 minutes. It's just, we'll be there at some point. They showed up to my house to deliver and install something. They assemble and install something.
Why don't we talk? It feels like it's cagey. It feels like you're talking about a sex swing, but I know it's not. So it's either a dishwasher.
I can install that.
Yeah, it's a dishwasher or it's the treadmill.
Got my dishwasher yesterday.
Okay, treadmill.
This is the treadmill.
Okay,
so
install a treadmill.
Well, it's like a 2-hour assembly to put this thing together.
Okay.
So anyway, Ash said the guy cut his hand open on a box cutter, and they had to leave to go to the hospital. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So now there's this unassembled treadmill in the center of my garage.
That actually would have been really funny if you were the one home, because you're like, oh, wow, okay. Who's going to assemble my treadmill?
Yeah, it's a $149 add-on, and I was given a 10-hour window. For this, guy doesn't know how to use a box cutter?
Can't use a box cutter, but you can assemble this piece of machinery.
So speaking of Zoom, I'm thinking I kind of want to implement the big window of time, but for all of my Zoom meetings. So instead of using Calendly, I just want to be like, we should totally meet tomorrow from 10 to 2. It's like sometime 10 to 2. You have to log on, though.
Yeah. Just be logged on. It'll let you know when I arrive.
You need to be in the meeting.
Jay O'Brien
and at some point, I'll be in there.
It's like that's actually kind of a cool thing. They would just hear ding, Jay O'Brien has arrived.
Yeah.
And you just go 5 minutes. What do you got?
That's the ultimate show of force. No, there was someone, I forget who it was, but it was someone we were speaking to a long time ago, like a prospect. And rather than doing the go back and forth thing, they just sent us a calendar invite for a time that worked for them. And they're just like, we'll talk tomorrow at 10. We're like, what? We never said that we were.
No, that's not just the one time that's happened. That's happened plenty of times. and then it's happened to me. And then you got to make that decision. You're like, I mean, let's be honest. I see it, I'd be like, I actually am available at that time. I just don't know that I want to make it be that easy. Or like, that time works great. Or it's like, let me see what I can do. Oh, you know what? This is a pretty good customer experience, client experience topic. You know, so much comes up that we actually could just share things that are going on in our life like that. And there would be enough weird experiences and people doing it wrong where they can miss the mark that'd probably fill a whole show. I'm changing gyms to a gym that opened up right by my house. So right now my gym is right by work.
And that place is never opening up.
That's the point. But right now gym is right by work, and it's proven to be less functional with when I want to like not miss time with the kids in the morning. So I'm like, one right by the house is going to be better. It's more economical. So they said they were going to open up in May, and then they didn't. And then they're like, we kind of, miscalculated. Okay, it's going to be middle of June. We miscalculated it. Then they started blaming the city. The city is going to come for their inspection. They didn't show up, whatever it is. They're doing their social media thing, and they're like, opening next week. And then it doesn't open. Now, I've actually called a couple times because I want to know, be like, what's going on? And it's like, the city did not show up for their appointment that we had to give our final thing. And then now it's like, they had an issue with a crack in our sidewalk. We're going to redo the concrete on Thursday, whatever it is. But here's my point. All these things are totally understandable. And normal person would be like, yeah, dude, I know opening a business is hard. The city is an absolute pain in the ass, city of Costa Mesa. What they're doing, though, is not informing anybody. It's like, we've talked about this before. There's like kind of bad news. And when I get them on the phone, they're like, we feel so bad. You guys are just, I know you're just waiting forever. Like, don't feel bad about that. Feel bad that I have to call you every 5 fucking days. Feel bad that you're not.
You know what solves everybody's problem? Stop saying you're opening. Like, based on some trajectory. Like, you don't know yet. Like, once everything's done, now you can say next week.
Yes. But I think it's all about transparency. If they said to people, this is what's going on, we're hopeful for this, but not sure, we'll keep you updated. Like, I went on and found that they have one post on a social media, or maybe it's Facebook, on Instagram. They got one post, bunch of followers, and people are angry. They're like, exactly that. Stop saying you're opening. What is this? Where are the updates? And they're just not replying.
So you're saying this ties into what we do because you're failing to meet expectations.
You're failing to meet expectations, but
under-delivering.
But it's also just like business advice on like, you keep people informed. Even when something's bad news, no news is worse than some bad news.
Sure.
Right? So keep people informed. All these people would have to do is jump onto that social media post where there's dozens of people who are now bitching about them and be like, trust us, we're just as frustrated as you are. We want to get you in here really, really quickly. We're dealing with the city. We've got another appointment. We're working as quickly as possible. And maybe they do something like, come on by. Oh, they did do something. I had to learn by calling that you can, at this point, for free, because they don't have to charge you yet, you can use any of their of the other gyms in different locations. You go to Newport right now and use that gym for free. They didn't tell anybody that. Only the people who are calling and are pissed off, right? Yeah. So take what you will from that. Businesses can learn from. Keep your prospective customers in the know. Okay. And the way that they're doing this, you have to assume it's all coming from the top. It's all coming from management.
You did the segue.
You'd always do the segues, and I didn't have the segue, so it was all coming from management. So at the end of the day, it's how you manage.
Business ethics. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you want to talk about management today, and the paradoxical dilemma of who we put in charge for these things, including ourselves. Yeah, I think that one of the craziest things that happens in corporate America when it comes to management is that, especially in a sales environment, is you get really good at selling. So like I've talked about it on the podcast a few times. My background's at Best Buy. I got nothing bad to say about the company.
Do you have a picture of yourself in a blue shirt or black shirt?
I'm sure I could find it. I'm sure I still have my Geek Squad badge. Okay.
That is shocking to me.
Yeah.
You don't have something you bought last week.
There's a area for little mementos in a safe that I have. Huh. Okay. So the natural progression in a lot of companies is you'd get hired to do the thing, be the contributor, do the thing. And then once you become really good at the thing, you become a manager. Being a manager has absolutely nothing to do with the thing. But it seems at first glance that it does, because it's like, you're really good at this thing. You should teach other people how to do this thing. And you should like hold them accountable on how to do this thing. And like create curriculums and things like that, role play, whatever. Like that part, fine. But managing people has absolutely nothing to do with a talent of being like a salesperson or customer or whatever it is that you are good at. Yet those are the people that you hire. It's almost like how we appoint jurors in trials. Like they're just like, we just need 12 random people, please. You're like, well, maybe it should be people who like know what the hell they're talking about or know what they're looking for or whatever. Not just like this. I want this guy to decide my fate.
That's how we pick managers?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying like, well, kind of. I mean, it's like you're saying you worked here a long time. You're really good at this one thing over here. Maybe you could be good at this other thing that has nothing to do with this thing. You ever hear the Mitch Hedberg joke when he's like, you're a really good chef. It's like, can you farm?
No, but that's great.
It's like when people are like, oh, you're a really funny comedian. You should act. He's like, what?
Okay, so that's the analogy too.
Yeah.
So I think what's interesting, I've heard you say that a million times, we've talked about it, is like, yes, this person who has been a good salesperson for a long time and had a lot of experience, they can probably identify whether somebody else is a good salesperson or is good or is bad or is doing something wrong. Also, kind of only as compared with the way that they do it, right? Because different people, we've seen it here. Yeah. I don't know how it is in a retail setting as much, but it's like, I can tell you whether they're good or not compared to what I do or how I do it. But that doesn't mean that that person is necessarily capable or good at making the person better or making the person more motivated. Like that's the thing that they have to be good at. It's not identifying. It is a Jerry Seinfeld thing. Okay, you've identified the weaknesses, but it's really improving the weaknesses.
It's keeping the reservation.
Yeah, it's keeping the reservation that makes a manager good or not.
What else? What else makes a manager good?
We're going to disagree on some of them because I weigh empathy really highly, and you sometimes poke me in the eyes for that, Three Stooges style.
Let's double click on that.
Okay, double click. Go ahead, O'Brien.
Empathy is a good thing. However, if you ask a student why they didn't do their homework, there's no shortage of great reasons why.
Excuses.
Sure. So even if the kid's grandma died, it's like you can get wrapped up in that times 100 that semester, with different people.
Kids got 100 grandmas? Oh, different kids.
There's 100 people that will say it.
Sure.
There's no end to explanations, and maybe, I don't even know if that's what you're saying. Is it an explanation or excuse? Is that the thing you're empathizing with? Where does the empathy come in this example that you're providing?
I mean, I'm Jeff benefit of the doubt Jackel. So like the empathy is like trying to see the situation from someone else's perspective. So it could be, let's make that student. So like that is a good example where someone's like, if their grandmother really did die last night, like this is the last thing on their mind. So you're empathizing with that. But like, or let's say it's a salesperson in a sales role and someone's taking a while to get up to speed and they're struggling, but they're really trying. Like I think you do have to empathize with the challenges that they're facing and know that they're trying. But you
of course that should all be part of the ramp period and the training period, right? I mean, enough data you can start to see where should this start clicking. And with sales specifically, it's like behaviors drive the results. So what are the behaviors that are being done, and then what are the results if all the behaviors are there? Like, I used to train real estate agents. I'd be like, hey, this is exactly what to do, And then they'd be like, okay, for sure, I'm going to do everything you said. And then they don't. Or you see this with like people who want to get ripped, right? In the gym, like, I can't tell you how many people would come to, I used to do CrossFit, Muay Thai and all this stuff. And they'd be like, oh yeah, dude, I'm so into this. I can't. And then like the very first thing they're like, the thing with my body is this. You're like, yeah, get the hell out of here, dude. Like,
well, I'm unique because the way that I metabolize sugars.
Seriously, there's always something unique going on. It's like, oh, we should cater to this. The way my body works. So actually, the way my diet works, the way this is like, okay, so then you don't want to do this thing. Like, and maybe all of that is true. Maybe there is some unique thing, but at least do the thing first, see what the results are, and then start to change things rather than think you're the expert right at the gate.
Yeah. I mean, maybe one element of empathy or one element of like that I always think is important is making sure that people you're asking to do things know that you've done it.
Oh, do you think that's important?
I kind of do. I mean, you could do things where you haven't done it, you don't know how to do it, but like I do think that there was a lot of benefit for us in the early days of the company of basically like we were doing every single job that we're hiring you people to do. We were actually doing it sometimes out of our houses and garages and all this kind of stuff. And like we were doing the customer service and we were doing this. So it's not that you have to do it exactly like us, but we can empathize if you're going to complain and say there's so many like.
I think it's definitely a benefit. I don't know if it's a requirement.
No, because we couldn't possibly do.
Well, Tom Ferry's never sold real estate. #1 real estate coach in the world. The coaching, the training, the mentorship, that's one aspect for sure of management. But the empathy part, I want to go deeper on that. Like,
okay.
So like, let me ask you very directly, what's a way that you empathize with people that I don't?
I think that they view it as empathy, but I am willing to listen more. Not necessarily about things that have to do with their
willing to listen empathy.
It is perceived as empathy. Yeah. Doesn't necessarily mean that I am buying absolutely everything that they're saying. But yeah, I think that listening is the first step in empathizing. Usually, I mean, otherwise you wouldn't know about what's happening in someone's life.
Okay, that's fair. How much time would you say?
What would you say you do?
How much time would you say you should carve out for listening?
Gosh, sometimes I feel like I'm on a job interview with this. As much time as it takes to feel like the person feels heard.
Wow, okay. And how often?
I mean, that's got to be within reason. You'd say when they, you could say like when they feel like there's something that's important enough to share, but like I have cut it down.
2 hours a week. That's how often I've got things to say and I want you to hear them.
No, I don't have 2 hours a week for that. Well, is it
You're right. You don't have the time.
For you?
But you use the time.
There's no way I spend 2 hours a week listening to people talk about things or listening to their perspective on it.
Depends on the week.
Some weeks, for sure. Yes.
I completely agree with you that listening to someone and having them heard is important. I would say that I have absolutely zero problem with that. However, it's not a venting session.
Sure. Fair.
This is not a place to
Sure.
vent.
Work is not a venting.
If you've got constructive criticism, feedback, concerns, be brief, be direct. Let's come up with a solution. But if we're talking for an hour about something that you just want to get off your chest, that's for ChatGPT or your therapist, not for me.
Work is not therapy. Work is not the spot
Not
for therapy.
at all. We're all here to do something. We're all here to work. We're all here to grow a company.
I agree with
And
that.
if there's a hiccup or a chink in the chain, if you will, then let's just address what that is and move on.
Is it kink?
Chink in the chain.
Is it?
Isn't it?
We should have a fact checker. You know, like that.
Well, because it's all about the alliteration, right? Ch, not kink, cha, but
I don't know.
chink, cha.
Never heard of it.
Really?
Never. I've heard like the chink or the kink in the armor or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, I also wanted to talk about management styles. The thing I was telling you about at lunch today, my sister took on a new role at a company 6 weeks ago. She's a pretty high level, like probably the second highest level person there. She's, done this role for a bunch of different companies that are much bigger than the one that she's doing. And she came into this role and met essentially the person that she reports to, and the management style is something she'd never experienced before. It works apparently really well in the company. But it was like what I would consider the most drastic micromanagement that I've ever heard of, like not being able to work autonomously in any way, even as a senior person, not being able to make decisions, not being able to set meetings for yourself, and wanting to, like a boss or something, wanting to be CC'd on every email you send, which you said you have seen that
That's
before.
insane.
Yeah.
I have seen that before.
Yeah. And it's hard for me to even like put myself in the shoes of an owner or a manager or whatever that would want that. But I think it's a lot more common than I think. Like when she was telling me these things, and then, I had a couple conversations with people like, yeah, I know people who do that. It's like, we work as hard as possible for the absolute opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I don't want to be CC'd on anything, I just want it to get done. And if somebody comes in and is like, oh no, I can do all of that on my own. I can make those decisions and I can.
Okay, so let's go back to that. So let's just say that, okay, on one side of the spectrum, you've got this person who's like, I need to be copied on every single email. You mentioned check-ins that happen 8 times in 2 weeks, like just unbelievable unnecessary meetings, follow up,
like a daily 1 hour one-on-one for the first.
That's unbelievable. What an incredible waste of time. But okay, fine. This is all coming from a place, benefit of the doubt, that this person wants to make sure this person's doing well. They're staying on top of things. They're managing process. Nothing slipping through the cracks because it's actually impossible because they're on top of it. Sure. They're a backup, basically, everything, right? So that's one side of it. The other side is the pure autonomy. You've got a better way, do it. I trust you. Show me what you got. In that example, where does accountability come in? And if something misses the mark, whose failure is it? Is it because direction was fuzzy or non-existent? Was it because there was no behaviors to drive the results? There was no tactical SOP, do this to get this, because there was so much autonomy? Who's to blame? And what's fair?
On the more autonomous approach, I don't think it can be entirely autonomous. I think that you owe it to somebody. Even if you hire somebody who knows how to do whatever, they're a high-level person, they know how to do the role that you don't, like we've hired a bunch of times for this, you still owe it to the person to check in regularly, at least in the beginning stages, even for your own kind of edification on what they're doing. But where I think that it gets fuzzy a lot of times is when people hire somebody for a role or a function that they themselves are not knowledgeable about or adept at doing, and then try to overmanage that person. Maybe it's out of feeling defensive about it or feeling like, oh, there's someone in here that's going to get recognized or whatever the heck it is. But it's like, we've hired a bunch of people who are like, you're here because you know how to do this and we don't. So the dumbest thing in the entire world for us would be to be like, well, we're going to manage everything that you do, and so that you can't grow above us or grow beyond us. Like that's the most.
So take that through, because we've seen this go a couple ways where that trust, because I follow the same logic as you. You're saying the reason I'm hiring the specialist or the expert is because I am not the expert. I want the best person in that seat. How the hell am I going to teach the best person what to do when I don't know what to do?
Yeah. Or we've taken it as far as we can get it, and now we need more expertise than.
Sure.
Yeah.
So fast forward whatever arbitrary amount of time, no results, or
I know where you're going.
Or results that you weren't expecting. Again, who's to blame? And also, is it too premature for those results? Like, you're not the expert. How could you possibly know what to expect if you yourself are not the expert?
So those are all like individual scenarios. Each time the first answer is, I think we've made mistakes in giving people too much autonomy, trusting people too much, too far out of the gate. Like, we want you to succeed. We want you to grow. We want you to absolutely crush it, impress the hell out of us, and then have a whole team below you that goes, we want you to end up being a C-level person at whatever this thing is eventually, right? And we did give people too long a leash for a long time. The answer to the question of like, to what end, or what if there's no results, is like you said before with sales, it's like based on the actions. So where you get into trouble is trusting that somebody is doing the work, not necessarily trusting that they, like, knowing what to do or having expertise in something and then actually putting in the like man hours, or if you say that, to do the work, are two different things. So like, when we've talked about it a bunch in this remote culture and stuff, unless you were micromanaging, which we refuse to do, you may not know that this person is not actually putting. Okay,
so let's say that you hire a brand new head of marketing tomorrow.
Okay.
And they say, I'm going to do this. I know what to do, autonomous, whatever. And you're saying, so long as they're doing the things and can prove that out, there's comfort there. But just like the dog ate my homework thing, it's like, if they're like, oh yeah, we did this new marketing campaign here, we sponsored this event, we got this billboard over there, and you're like, you've done a lot of things, but the results aren't there.
Yeah. So that, when you say whose fault is it?
Yeah.
It is your fault as the manager, as the owner, as the boss. If the claimed and anticipated or expected results were not communicated.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
So day one, if you say, okay, these are the things that you're going to do, because I don't know what to do. You're the head of marketing. I'm not, here's the things you're going to do. Okay. And what results can we expect from that? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then and what's the timeline that we can expect those in? And then how do we, if you follow it all the way down, how do we expect that this is going to result in actual, let's say revenue is the ultimate result of what you're doing? And you say, okay. And then further to that, okay, and in what interval can we check in and see if we're on pace?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. Clear expectations and clear follow-up.
Only took 7 years to get.
Hey, I'm not even saying I'm the expert at that, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think too, a lot of what we do and a lot of what a lot of people do that listen to this is they're, like you say, flying the plane. So you're doing all the stuff and you're also trying to manage, but you're not just a manager. You're also a doer.
Yeah.
So it becomes incredibly difficult. And in a lot of ways, I compare it to like triage, because there's clearly things I'll see that are wrong or incorrect or going the wrong way, or maybe even the wrong person, whatever. And I recognize it, and I'm like, I can't get to that right this second.
Yeah. Someone's leg is bleeding over here.
Yes, I need to tackle these things first, and I'll get to that later, which is incredibly difficult for a company of our size.
Yeah. Well, maybe this isn't empathy, but it's like the emotional or psychological part of it. I think a lot of it for me, if maybe for both of us, won't speak for you, but is part of the reason you maybe give somebody too much autonomy too quickly, or we have in the past, is when you are flying the plane. And you that analogy when we say you're flying the plane is basically the plane's in the air. So like if you're planning a business or you're in the early days, there's not that much coming in. All of it is output, and so you don't have to take care of the operations of something while you're actually trying to put this together in a building stage. But when at this stage we're actually flying the plane, is that if you're overwhelmed and you're doing so many different things and you are doing also. You want so badly to not have to think about it anymore. Like you want so badly
to save you.
Yes, you want so badly for this person or this thing or this agency or whatever it is to come in and be the answer to your prayers that it's almost like an irrational level of trust is given quickly just because you're like, because I just want that to be true.
Yeah, totally. We fall into that trap plenty of times. But I will say, it's what an incredible opportunity it is for whoever that employee is. If they are capable, and as capable as maybe they sold themselves to be, imagine that. If they just came to the table and they're like, I'm gonna brief you at the end, or debrief you at the end of every week. Here's exactly what got done. Here's exactly where we stand. Here's my plans for next week, and got it to a point where, oh my God, we could never operate this business without them. What an incredible position to put
100%.
yourself in.
Yeah, and huge opportunity for growth. But it's like. It's also interesting when somebody comes in. So the situation I was talking about with my sister, she is a marketing role or brand management role. And so talking about when we say there's got to be clear measurement, clear plans, what can you get done? What can you this? What can you that? The measurement that they were talking about for this role, they kept talking about social media numbers, which is, marketing communications and follower count and that kind of stuff. And she was pushing to basically say, I'd rather you judge me, or let's have this on actual revenue that can be, and like new accounts that are opened up and actually bringing dollars to the bottom line. Which I was saying to her, like, look, as a business owner, as somebody who is actually responsible for the bottom line or whatever it is, like that's music to my ears. You'd rather like make sure that the efforts that you're making are going to be the dollars. Which that would be great. Somebody comes in and they say, look, I'm going to show you how this runs all the way down the path. The problem that was from day one, which I told her, was the misalignment was writing on the wall from the very beginning that's going to be hard, right? Like if we were, let's say the same thing we just talked about. We bring in somebody that's new in marketing, and the first thing we have to say is, what are the things you're going to do? What are the measurements? What do we expect? What's the timeline, et cetera? If that person comes back with, it's going to be, let's say it's the opposite. It's going to be social media engagement. We're going to get you this many followers. And we were like, well, we don't give a shit about that. Here's what we want. We want it to result in sales, and we want this, and we're going to measure this, and whatever. Like that, being on that same page is more important than anything. And then how you manage the person. There's a whole other element of it that I don't know if I talked about, where like, Oh, I did. Needing to be CC'd and whatnot and everything. Needing to like be in the how are you getting it done. There's two approaches. One is I don't give a shit how you get it done. Here's what we agreed was going to get done. Come back to me in 6 weeks or check in with me, and it's either done or it's not.
Yeah. Well, the likes and the followers thing to me sounds like the same thing. It's just a little short-sighted from the business owner's perspective, because of course, if you're like, oh, you're going to get 100,000 followers and all these likes, but it'll never translate to real brand awareness that will ever drive revenue. Do you still care about it? That like they would say, no, never mind. They're just equating popularity to growth to revenue, whatever. So for someone to say, yeah, I mean, skip that vehicle entirely, what you're ultimately after is revenue, right? Yeah. It was like
this situation was a total outlier because apparently she asked to what end. So you get these likes and followers, then what happens? And it was
sure, like, yeah. I mean, and maybe that's just misalignment, whatever. But like, sometimes people do confuse those things. So social media is actually a great example because nowadays, or I mean, I don't even know, maybe this has been going on forever, but like follower counts, all this stuff, and likes and all this shit, it's like so much of it's manufactured anyway.
Well, not only that, it's become irrelevant with the way the algorithms work. Like
right. But once upon a time, it made perfect sense. It's like, you go back 10 years or whatever it was, and it's like, oh, this person's got 100,000 people looking at everything he or she posts. This person's got 100. Yep. Like, oh, this is really great awareness. It's like advertising, on TV versus radio or whatever. It's like, okay, great.
It also depends on what you're selling. If you're trying to sell something where like the demand or the groundswell, or like, let's say you were trying to pre-launch something, just get a whole bunch of people to want it before it's even available. Well, then sure, that's the only metric you can do. But the second you start selling and something is available to sell, it's got to be like, how does this actually result in a sale?
Yeah.
I think we got off the management train for a second.
Well, we went over empathy, clear communication and follow-up.
Expectations, around expectations and timelines.
Which ultimately leads into accountability, which I think is hands down the biggest miss in management across the board, especially nowadays with bringing participation trophies to the work environment. Is that a knock? Who's there?
I double-clicked. I'm double-clicking on why you think...
I use a Mac, not a PC, so the double-click's not going to do anything. Or does it?
I don't know. No.
I guess if it's on the desktop, it does.
Double-clicking on why...
What I mean by that is like, so you talked a little bit about management styles, okay? I think that people are often mistaking accountability for not being kind, and they think, oh, like... maybe this guy's a dick or whatever it is. You're like, no, there could be amazing culture. There could be amazing everything with assertive, accountable environments, much like the military, let's say, right? It's like, I don't think people are going to bed at night crying about their boss. They're like...
In the military?
Yeah. It's like, it's shaping you to become a leader or I guess to follow and then become a leader. And, it's very... militant in that respect, right? Not saying that that's how you run a corporation, but in terms of policies and whatnot, there is something to be said of this is the path, and if what was said isn't done, then there will be a conversation or accountability piece or whatever it is, versus just, oh, your grandma died again. Like, oh,
your grandma died again is the most fucked up thing you said.
So sorry. Like, well, let's circle back next week, and that treadmill of bullshit goes on forever and ever and ever. Yeah. So when you talk about management styles, I guess for me, I've always received accountability and like brashness, I guess. Well, I like that, it's straight and to the point, and even though it might sting a little bit, exactly where you stand and it's crystal clear.
Why did you just like an accountability and brashness? Can accountability be... Can you manage with accountability or an emphasis on accountability without being brash?
I think people think they're being or holding someone accountable, but they're not. So let me hear your story. Oh, well, maybe we should try harder at that. Oh, well, maybe you can try this. Let's see how this goes. It's not like
soft
you said this is what was going to happen. It didn't happen. And now it's been 2 months of not happening. here's what is going to happen next.
So
you know?
when you're using the word brash, you really just mean being very direct.
Yeah. Yeah. Direct, assertive, you know, I mean, maybe you can tell me, but because you don't think I'm empathetic, but like,
I think you are. I think you're empathetic.
but to me, I feel like empathy is like a superpower of mine, like in understanding human beings. And like, you know, I talk to Ash about this all the time. I'll meet someone like who I've never talked to before, and they'll just confide in me. Like they'll tell me everything. I can't tell you how much stuff I know about our inner circle that people just trust me with. They go, don't tell anyone. I don't even tell Ash because I really don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
It's truly like a vault, right?
Yeah.
So I do believe that I give off that energy to our staff here where people could talk to me about this stuff, but very rarely is it like a long vent session or something. It's usually a solution oriented or like, you know, we're getting somewhere, you know?
I don't think that's empathy. I think you do have a very, very high emotional IQ. I think I do too, but I think that you put off an air, or people know you as being like rock solid, like trustworthy, right? Like that, and that that's why they would tell you these things and trust that you're not going to tell anybody. Well, for two reasons. One, I think you feel very trustworthy on that, but also they kind of know that you like don't. I don't want to say like you don't give enough of a shit, but it's almost like there's a good level of like caring, but also like I would never deal with that nonsense anyway. Like telling her would possibly cause a problem, or would it cause drama or whatever. And you're very clear about like I have absolutely no interest in drama. Like there could be a train wreck over there. You're not even going to really look because you're just like that doesn't concern me.
And so that's I think I'm that way naturally because that's how I receive it, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if I ever gave you this example or ever told you this story, but through all this tactical gun training and stuff I've been doing. They run you through. I mean, for the hour you're there, you're white knuckled the whole time. Like you're on. You know, it's like they're constantly quizzing you. They're constantly running drills, and you better know what it is. You better retain the knowledge. You know, and so there's
be able to recite it quickly. They ask
quickly,
you.
yeah. And if not, you failed.
Okay.
Right. So like there was one day where they strung a ton of exercises together. It's probably 13 steps of things. And he's like, okay, I need you to do a tactical reload, then speed reload, and then a mechanism failure. And like this, and he's like, lists off, you know, a bunch of things. And you have to walk through step by step what you're doing. Like, you don't just do it. You actually say what you're doing as you're doing it and whatever. So sometimes you go from step 1 to 3 because you're like, oh, I forgot to say step 2, right? So anyway, there's only 5 people in the class. So it's like, you're in it. And he gets to me, he goes, okay, Jay, demonstrate this stuff. And I go, and on step like 7 or 8, I fumbled and like skipped one. And he just instantly interrupts me. He goes, couldn't follow basic instructions. Mark, we'll go to you.
You're like, for sure.
And I was like, I love it. Because for me, I receive that well. You know, if he was like, well, let's remember step 8 is like this. And so you really want to be careful of this or whatever. There's no way I'd be studying in my car for 10 minutes prior to the next one. You know, like
So,
I'm like,
okay.
I can't mess that up again.
So basically he did that. Can't follow basic instructions, mark onto you.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, I'm embarrassed. Basically, I feel embarrassed for myself and that I clearly didn't do something. I'm like letting him down. He wanted me to be able to do this, etc. And so then you then are going to study in your car before the next one because you don't want to feel that feeling again.
Yeah, and I actually love the way how he called them basic instructions because it's like it's even more demeaning.
But was part of you?
He's not like, this is complicated, dude. It's going to take some time. He's like, couldn't follow basic instructions, you know.
But in your head, they're not basic instructions. So you're like, so it's.
Well, no. To me, it actually reframes the whole thing. I can think of it as complicated, or I can think of it as basic. And I should be thinking of it as basic and learn it as just basic muscle memory, you know?
We talk about, I don't know if we've talked on here, but we should at some point, all about West Wing team, right?
Yeah.
And so we say that a lot in here that we want to build the West Wing team. It's from the Aaron Sorkin TV show from the 90s, maybe. It's probably my favorite series of all time. If not, it's competition with The Newsroom, which is also Aaron Sorkin. But anyway, when we say that, I think there's actually, as you're saying this, I think that there's a misconception when we've talked with people in here about that and what that means. And I think that they believe it means like the best people in the job, like the smartest people, the most experienced people. That's not actually, when I think of it that way, that's not actually what I mean. And as you're talking about accountability, I'm realizing that I may not have ever actually detailed exactly what I mean. Accountability is being called out or being asked for something that is expected of you. And I saw something recently that was like responsibility or stress or whatever is a good feeling to have because it means people count on you, right? And so when I think of the West Wing team, it is if one of the characters in the White House asks somebody, what's the update on this? Or where is this? The answer is, here's the answer, here's what it is. And it's like, they're on top of it. They're doing it. They're just giving an update. They're just being asked for an update. Accountability only feels brash or harsh or negative when there's a reason, when you don't have a good answer, when you are being called out and you are ill prepared.
Yeah.
So accountability in itself, there's literally should be no negative connotation. And when I think of West Wing, that's literally what I mean, where you ask something of somebody and I'll go further. Even if they don't have it, where the response is very direct, I actually, I'm not as far along as I want to be on that thing. Here's an update for you, or I'll give you the update right now, but I'm expecting this to be on Thursday, which I would be fine with, right? Unless it was like way past a deadline or whatever it is. But that's what I think is kind of a misconception, is that accountability in itself is not negative. It feels harsh if you underperform. It's when we are doing something like when we created an accountability structure last year for the exercise thing and checking in. It's like if I just say, hey, did you do the thing? Did you do the thing today, or how'd you do today? You're like, yeah, I was at the gym this morning from 10 to 11 or whatever. It's cool.
Right. And by the way, it's black or white. If I was like, dude, I had like the gnarliest day at work and I didn't end up getting home till 8. Say it was so fussy. Ash had a hell of a day. It took me till 11:30 to put her down. Blah blah blah. So you didn't go
right,
then. That's the answer.
Yeah.
The answer is you didn't go.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I mean, I guess, about the empathy thing. Like, sure, you could say, "Wow, that's must have been tough," and whatever. It's like that's not what I asked.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, there's no shortage of excuses as to why I didn't go.
Sure.
Like those just happen to be a couple good ones I pulled out, right? Like, and I'm not saying that people who provide excuses are lying by any stretch. I'm just saying there will always be an explanation. And this is actually one of the things that would drive me crazy about holding an employee accountable, or even someone who, like a service provider, like a vendor, someone you've purchased something through, whatever. Like when there's an explanation and you're like, dude, there's always going to be an explanation. I want a result. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that marketing agency that we hired and worked for them for a year, again, they had endless amounts of amazing explanations.
Yeah.
But it gets to a point where you go, we just need to get very black or white here. Like, I paid X, you provided Y. That's not an exchange that we agreed upon. Mm-hmm. And really well done on all the reasons as to why we're here. But I don't care about those reasons.
Right. It's not yielding the result that was anticipated, expected, discussed.
Right.
And that's it.
Yeah. Yep. So I think that piece is critical. And I think it's one of the biggest missing pieces. Because look, at the end of the day, I think most people try and skirt confrontation, mm-hmm. Especially if you're the one who has to initiate and has to hold the feet to the fire. God, you want every reason in the world to not have to do that, right? Because no one wants to make another person feel badly,
sure.
So you're like, just do better. Or, okay, that's a reasonable enough answer. I can hit the delay button on this a little longer so that I don't need to make this confrontational.
Well, so I was going to say that when you said the thing is the example of a workout and whatever, and that's not life or death. But like if you said, oh man, I had the craziest day, I was up late with the baby and blah, 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 blah. At the end of your explanation, I have two choices. I either say, well, dude, don't beat yourself up too much about it. Brand new baby, things happen. Like, let's just hit it hard tomorrow. Maybe you do an extra day on Saturday or whatever. Or I say, there's always going to be reasons why you can't do it. I'm sure there's choices that you made today that you could have made different choices and gotten that hour in. Like
I think that I think they're both honestly great. I just think that for me, I would do best if I just saw a scoreboard and that's a red X for that day, no matter what.
Sure.
There's no story behind
But
it.
I feel like if I said the latter of those two things, you'd be like, fuck off, dude. It was a tough day.
I wouldn't want, me personally, I wouldn't want to hear either. I would just want to hear, okay, no is the answer then. You know,
Okay, yeah.
That's it. That's it. Like you've got 7 days in a week. You agreed to work out 5 days. One of them's dead. So
yeah, what's funny is it's the same thing with the guy from the gun training or whatever. Like it is common for type A personality. It's how I operate too. I'm going to make myself feel much worse than whatever you're going to say is going to make me. If it's just red X and it's just so you didn't do it. No. I'm going to hit myself harder than if you said whatever those comments were that I just said. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to be harder on myself for not achieving what I promised I would do than whatever you say will be on me.
I mean, dude, how many times have you wanted to discuss your golf round that didn't go well or perfectly, right? We're like, every single golfer out there, every single golfer says, today I shot a 90, should have been 88, yeah. but I 3-putted the back. Yeah. You know, whatever it is, like there's a should have on every round. And it's not because, oh, that shot could have been better. It's literally like that had every freaking reason to go in. And that was an anomaly that it didn't.
Yeah.
Yet it happens 1 or 2 times every single round.
It's always going to be one of those.
And that's what we're talking about. Yeah. Like there's always going to be that. So the answer is, what'd you shoot? And that's it. I just want to know the number. I don't care about anything else. You know?
Yeah. You don't want to hear why it's bad or why it was good or why it could have been a little bit
better. And no one does, right? Yeah. Like you do when you want to talk about it, right?
Yeah.
And you almost feel like your explanation matters. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times I've like, you know, oh, dude, like when I'm playing with you, right? Yeah. I'm like, dude, did you see how I drive? It was unbelievable. I just got such an unlucky bounce. And it's like, to me, I actually am making a compelling statement that I feel like I can't believe you should have seen it. And for you, you're thinking, I don't give a shit about your drive, dude. It's out of bounds, no matter what. I don't care at all. In fact, if it was in the fairway, I wouldn't care either. It's your shot, not mine.
What does it say about me that I kind of do care?
Yeah, like that's the empathy part.
You'll have a round. You just did it the other day. You'll have a round, and I'm like, wait, why was it so bad? What was working? What wasn't working? And you tell me all these things, and I like dig deeper, and you're kind of like, I mean, you don't say it, but I know that you're like, why do you care about this more than I care about this?
It's like, dude, it's like when I get home from work and
Ash wants to know about your day.
Hey, Ash, how was your day? And she's like, you know, I'm saying, how was your day? I'm not saying, can you list off everything you did for me today?
Yeah.
But then
you're like, look, I just want a number.
It's 0 to 1 to 100. And then she'll say, how was your day? Good. You know, and then we're on to the next thing. And it's just like, well, no. Like, what'd you do today? And I'm like, I just got done with that. I just left that. I don't want to relive that thing.
She wants to get Jay out on the open road, really open him up.
What's that from?
It's actually from Friends. When Joey and Phoebe are at a restaurant and he's trying to keep her there because she's got that date and he knows it and she doesn't want her to go. And she's like, I really want to get to a real deep conversation, you know? Really get old Joey out on the open road, really open him up.
Well, this has been great.
This has been great. I especially like.
I mean, if ever there were a time to ask for feedback, comments, whatever, please commiserate and give us your honest feedback on the management styles. And what works, what doesn't work, biggest mistakes.
Tell us
biggest takeaways, good things, all of it.
Tell us the stories of the worst manager or boss that you ever had and the best one and what they did and why. I want to hear that. People would talk about. You think people would talk for a while about their golf round?
I got a quick one.
Go for it.
First day on the job, my boss spots me, and I go to introduce myself to him. He goes, "Oh yeah, you're the new guy." I go, "Yeah, I'm Jay. Nice to meet you." I go to shake his hand. He goes, "I'm not gonna shake your fucking hand." And he said, "Talk to me in 90 days. I'll shake your hand if you're still here." That's a real story.
You're like,
meanwhile, we let everyone rolling in sweats, work from home. Do whatever the hell you want to do. It's all for fun anyway.
I should go back and look at old journals and shit. I worked in entertainment for a few years. You should hear some of the shit that was said to me.
Yeah.
Or that I heard. It's great. All right. As usual, do the liking, do the subscribing, leave us some comments. Ask some questions. Let's do it. See you next time.